And we are back. Oh man, I'm still trying to get into the groove of things and get back right to the cadence. I'm honestly starting to believe that maybe Friday won't continue to work. Um, it'll still be a weekly thing, but I don't know if Friday is the best time to record this. But here I am. We're recording. I'm happy to be here. Happy to be able to create space for us to come together and just talk through creativity. Um, uh, I guess there's a couple of things I want to talk about today. But before we get into those details or get into the conversation, we're gonna do this and start it off the way we always do, with an exercise in mindfulness. And for us, that means 10 breaths, focusing on your breath, starting now. And we're here. Um, what's interesting is I have a brain teaser, which usually gets us going. This one is a last minute ad, so I can't. This is not necessarily one of my favorites, but here we are. It says, "I am a band that does not play any music. I am a band that does not play any music." What am I? Um, it's interesting because I am slowly getting back into my creative groove. I am back to being intentional about not only being in my creative groove, but actively finding creative spaces and surrounding myself with creative people in order to I don't want to say get back to my peak, but find that next level, that um, uh, that stride in creativity where I know I'm my most productive and effective and efficient. And slowly, as I'm in these spaces and I'm around these people, um, I'm starting to almost, I got my swagger back in regards to creativity, which is interesting, because as I'm doing this and surrounding myself with these other creative people, there's something else that I'm noticing. And there's one thing to be creative, there's another thing to claim to be creative, but there's a subtle difference, or not even subtle, I think it's obvious difference in when you or someone is in active pursuit of their creativity. I think that one is a little bit more obvious. And I know, because I know when I'm in pursuit of my creativity and I'm actively doing the things that I think I need to do to amplify my own creativity, I can notice that in other people. And like I said, I know I'm actively creating spaces for that. And then when I'm in these particular environments, these engagements, and I meet the people and we have conversations, I pick up on similarities in the why we're here. Usually, it's something creative that brings us together. But for a lot of us, we don't show up only for the main event or the main attraction. It's almost like we're intentional about being in these spaces for what can possibly or potentially come from it. And there's a lot happening right now in, I guess, every aspect of my life. personally, professionally, with the business, as well as in the role I play in academia. And if I start from that, we are almost at the start of the new semester. We're maybe 2 weeks away. So now I get the feeling that like there's going to be an influx of creativity, and it's right around the corner. And I always look forward to the first day because it is this overload of creativity, and I could see that these individuals are doing the same thing that I'm doing, creating spaces for creativity to flow. They're here, and I'm doing something new in one of the master's program with the impact entrepreneurship. And with them, it's a bunch of risk takers. And that's another thing I notice about people who are actively in their creativity. They seem to be in a space that they're willing to take more risk than they would normally do. And I've seen that in myself. Like, I'm noticing that certain things that I would second guess or question when I'm not actively in pursuit of my creativity, now I don't even think about it. I just do. And I know I'm searching for something. I'm searching for inspiration. I'm searching for expansion of my thought. I'm rebelling in some instances. I'm looking to disrupt what I believe is normal. And I'm challenging the status quo. And I'm doing it in little areas that might not immediately have a creative connection. And as I'm actively doing this, I seem to be attracting people who are doing the exact same thing. Maybe in a different way, but I get the sense that they too are working on something. And as much as we know what we're doing and why we're doing it, there's a huge unknown, because I think one of the things that I've realized over time, and we may have had a conversation about it, is like, you never know where your creativity is going to lead you. You truly don't know where you end up. Even if you have an idea of like, hey, this is what I want to create, that creative journey may take a detour, an unexpected one, and lead you to a place that you weren't even considering going, but that's where you end up. But the beauty about creativity, or what makes that work, is your ability to be receptive to that idea, right? I think the things that are ultimately become revolutionary or innovative or pushes the boundaries of what we consider normal usually come from risk-taking, usually comes from just challenging social norms and taking expectations and kind of just shifting whatever that is. And sometimes it's intentional. I remember talking to a good friend of mine, and he had mentioned, it's like, do you sometimes feel like you are creating obstacles? And maybe not. I think because I'm on a quest to risk take, to challenge, maybe I'm also creating obstacles just so I can allow myself to think outside the box and just look at alternative approaches to something that I may have felt I knew the answer to. And that is what I'm on. Like, that is, if I'm honest, that is the space that I'm in currently. I am And I know that, like, going into the fall, I usually, there's certain things that usually happen. Like I don't know, for some reason going into the fall, I usually have insomnia, and I could tie that to the fact that I know that I am at the cusp of like a creative explosion, and my mind cannot rest. And as much as I try to do whatever I think I can do to overcome that or reduce the occurrence of it, like I cannot, there's not much I could do to get ahead of that. I think it is a normal process for me and my creativity. And I've said that I've said this before. A lot of what I'm saying, as I share these stories and have conversations with you guys, I realize that this is not unique to me. This is us as creatives. These are things we all experience. And like, you too are creating spaces for your creativity. You too are challenging the norm. You too are taking risks. Because you believe that whatever it is you're working on is something special. You don't know, you truly don't know what it is. You know what you're working towards, but again, creativity will ultimately decide what that'll end up being, your creativity. But you continue to challenge yourself. You continue to almost live in a almost like a bubble of delusion, because even as things sometimes may not naturally progress at the pace that we want to, or there's every reason to I don't want to use the word quit, but every reason to take you off your path. Some of it may be obvious, some of it may be logical. It might come from people that you know, that care about you, that love you, but you don't use that as a deterrent. You don't use that as a thing that takes you off your path, which I think is remarkable. And I think it's those things that when you notice it in other people, you notice that you guys gravitate towards each other because you're on a similar journey. And one of the things we talked about in previous episodes was this idea of like this comparison that we naturally tend to do as creatives when we're amongst other creatives. But as I said then, and I'm going to say it again, sometimes that comparison doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing, or it isn't a bad thing. I think in comparison, we can also see ourselves. We see our determination in others. We see our yearning for like enlightenment and this desire to want to leave a mark, to create something that is revolutionary, or something that's just, it doesn't have to be something grand. It's just sometimes creativity provides the simplest of pleasures and solves the simplest of problems. But there are things that are, and characteristics that are evident amongst people who are actively in pursuit of their creativity. And you're intentional about carving out the time that you think you need to get to it. And not because you say, I'm going to dedicate X amount of time, it means that every day you're going to have that amount of time. But you make do. And the times that you can give a little extra, you do that. And at times you can't, you don't punish yourself for it. And this is what the next creative, if the passion is there, the intention is there, they are basically doing the same thing. And sometimes a comparison, it might not be like the tangible stuff. It might not be the obvious stuff, because in comparison, we might say, well, you're working on something in the arts, and I'm working on something in technology. But the medium or the product, as much as it may impact or influence the process, the creative process itself is the same amongst us. The same characteristics that exist in me when I'm on my creative journey is going to exist in you when you are on yours. And I think there's a synergistic power that exists when you and whoever that counterpart is share space together. I think that combination not only validates your own journey, I think together it amplifies each individual significantly, because it is validation, it is confirmation, it is almost like reassurance that, yo, this thing is a real thing, and I'm on path. I'm working towards this thing, and there are other people working towards not the same thing, but their thing. And I think we should take pride in that, pride in ourselves on our creative journey, and pride in our counterparts who are living the experiences that we are, and that we can recognize. Because sometimes as creatives, like, it's hard to feel normal. Like, I don't even know what that means in the context of creativity, right? But our mind takes us places, our emotions takes us places, our physiology takes us places, and it brings us to here, this moment of creativity. And then we're supposed to, in this moment, take that and transform it into art and innovation. And we do it. Like, it sounds like this almost convoluted, overwhelming process, but it happens so organically. And I want to say, trust your path, trust your journey. And when you see similarities in your experiences, when you see similarities in your approach, when you see similarities in the things that feel like characteristics of someone who is doing the thing that you're doing, it's okay to lean into those people, connect with them, and almost like build together. And all in all, like I don't want to stretch, ex- extend this out further than it needs to be. The thing I wanted to get across in today's conversation is, if you are on your creative journey and you recognize the change and the changes that are happening in your life in order to facilitate this thing that you're hoping to achieve, you'll start to recognize it in the people around you. And those same people are also in active pursuit of their creativity. Find them, share spaces with them. And be intentional about pushing the boundaries. Be open to receiving whatever creative energy you can while you share those spaces. And in return, meet and respond with that same level of energy. Continue to take risk. Continue to challenge the status quo. Continue to create. Continue to disrupt. And believe that whatever it is you are building is in fact everything that you want it to be and more. I'll end this with the puzzle that started us off. I am a band that does not play any music. What am I? I'm a rainbow. It was a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. I will leave you how I always leave you. Go be great.